Okay, so I unwired the alternator. Make sure you unplug your battery. That's a good thing. I'm going to pull the alternator out, and then we're going to pull some more stuff off the front here. Next on the list is we're going to remove these two brackets here. That top bracket isn't factory. I think that's an aftermarket thing. Okay, so we got the power steering pump out of the way. Pulling the pulley off. Now it's got 3 bolts that hold it in place. They're 9/16 like that, and a center bolt which is 5/8. And you get those off, and then you pull the pulley out. And then next we're gonna see if we can get that shroud out of there. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to probably pull the radiator first, and then the shroud will come out. Okay, so to pull the shroud off, there's 2 of these bolts, and I believe they're 1/2 inch, and that's what holds the shroud in place to the radiator. And let me see here for certain. No, it's not 1/2 inch. It is 3/8. There you go. Now to pull the radiator off, we've got to pull this bolt out here, and be another one on the other side. And with the the socket I'm using is 1/2 inch, and to get the radiator out of there, I'll have to disconnect the bottom radiator hose, which I've already got the clamp undone, and pull the hose off, and then I should be able to slide that radiator right up out of there. So I'll show you when it's out. Okay, so we pulled the radiator out, and we unhooked the lines from the transmission, and that slid right up, straight out. Now we got to pull the radiator for the air conditioning, and to do that we actually removed 2 bolts. There's a 3rd bolt, I think it's behind the frame, but 2 bolts were in here, which I can't see, but you can see them under the wheel well right in there, if you're ever doing that. And then we'll pull that one straight out, but we got some hoses over there that we have to undo as well. Okay, so to get this radiator support out of here so we can carry on, there's a bolt that was right in that hole there. One on this side, one on the other side. There's actually 6, 3 on each side, and then we got these ones here. So I'm just going to pull that out of there. Same thing there, and this support here, which is just a bar that runs up the back to the top of the front of the car. It's just a support. And then this whole piece right here should come out, and we'll be able to get the radiator out. Okay, we got all the bolts out. Now this piece should actually come right out. Move out of the way so we can get the pipes out of that area right there. These pipes here have to come out with the radiator. Okay, so now that'll probably slide right up out of there. Okay, so I had to unhook the radiator for the power steering from this location here, and I had to unhook the pipe from this location here in order to get that radiator out. Next, you need to get yourself a gear puller to pull this off, the harmonic balancer, and one of these works pretty nice. And we got that off, and now we're going to pull the pan away from the timing chain, and we're going to have a look in there, and then we're going to pull the intakes manifold off, and we'll show you a little more in a bit. Okay, with a 7/16 socket you can pull all of these bolts out around the timing chain pan, and then this will pop right out. You'll have to pry a little bit with a screwdriver, but they'll come off. Okay, next we pull the valve pen covers off, and now we're proceeding to take the spark plugs out. Unplug the spark plug wires, and then we're going to pull the coil, or the timer, out of the engine, and then the intake manifold is going to come off. Will be next. Okay, so I'm pulling the spark plug out here. It's a little difficult to get at, where it's right behind the header. So what you have to do is you got to take that spark plug wrench socket, slide it up like this onto it, and make sure you've got a place where you can hook a wrench onto your socket, And what I'm using is a ratchet wrench. Works really good in tight places like this. So that one is a 19 is what I'm using, and my socket is actually 5/8, so that's what size spark plugs I have in this. Okay, so we're down, we got the intake manifold off, we got the front end apart, and now we're just removing the fuel pump. And we should be ready to pull the cam. Okay, so here we are, we got the fuel pump out, just have to pull it out a little ways. And now we're pulling the cam out of her. We've got her half out there now. And as soon as you get the fuel pump out, this thing just slides right out. You gotta move it around a little bit up and down, because you gotta make sure those lobes actually line up with the hole. You gotta keep everything straight. Push towards me at the front. And that's how you take a cam out. So anyway, this is the cam that I pulled out. And as you can see, these are the lobes on the cam right here. And if you notice on this one here, as I roll it, how much lobe is actually left on that one. There's actually no lobe. So that could be a loss of power, and it was making a lot of tapping noise, which I couldn't get rid of. So there's a good enough reason to change it out. And another thing, I was told that by using 10W30 oil, they've taken out the zinc in the oil, and that's a reason why things are wearing now. So if you use 10W30 and you've got a tappet engine or hydraulic lifters, make sure you put, I use a product called STP. It has zinc in it, or you can use a aftermarket additive that has zinc in it as well. And there you go. And you're going to have to build yourself a little jig so you get all your push rods back in the right order. This piece of cardboard that I have here has them all in there, and this is the front, that's what it says down here. This says driver's side. This line going across here is all the driver's side. Top here says this is the top where it goes to the rocker arms. This is the bottom. And on the passenger side, this is the top. And they go through this way. So this side here will be the ones that are on top of the push or the rocker arms. This is where the rocker arms will be hitting. You can gear yourself up your own jig so that you understand it a little better. This is my jig, works good for me. So this is what we got for parts on the floor to change out a cam.